What's happening, guys? Martin is back again. So very quick video for you. I just had to get this off before I went to bed. But ultimately, question of the video is why you're not getting results, and is this the reason? And as you can see, probably from the thumbnail as well, seems to me like a lot of people are relying on social media, overly relying on social media, and to the point that they're not doing the work or self-improvement for themselves. Now, the aim of this channel for me has always been, even though obviously originally was talking about what we're talking about, the aim will always be one of self-improvement. So as it stands now, it seems like everyone seems to be so focused on being in the DMs, which you already know. Social media is at a point where you can't necessarily even operate without looking at it. I do it myself, but I think there's an over reliance on it for a lot of you guys. And someone was basically speaking to me today. I was asking me the question about what can I do to meet somebody else? What can I do to be out there and everything else like that? What can I do? Things aren't working for me. So then when I asked, well, what are you actually actively doing? The response was one of, well, I've looked at this dating app and I've looked at that dating app and everything else like that. But what it comes down to is you doing the work yourself, not relying necessarily on these apps. One of the things I've noticed as well, there's an over-reliance that people become too reliant to the point that they're no longer sociable and they're not going out, they're not actually putting themselves into different scenarios to meet different people. So you have to be sociable. You can't be overly reliant on social media to that extent. You look at social media now, the problem is, I think also there's a level of false reality that's created with social media. So again, with these pictures, you see the Instagram girls, you start looking at Instagram girls now, start thinking like that's what women actually look like, standard. And the problem also, what I'm seeing, which again, you guys have probably noticed as well, I'll leave your comments down below if you agree, that there's so much accessibility now. Obviously getting into the DMs and stuff like that, that was a thing which is, there's nothing new. We know how that works now, we know what it is, but there's a level of accessibility to the point where back in the day, let's say 100 years ago, even probably 50 years ago, you wouldn't necessarily, as a man, you wouldn't necessarily come across a concentration of so many, say, attractive women in one go. And same for ladies, you won't come across so many attractive men in one go, in one shot. And now, because everything's just pumped and pushed in your face, you can quite literally just spend your time scrolling through, seeing all these attractive women, and then it makes you think that the girl you see that's down the road is not attractive, or the person that you see down the road is not attractive, and therefore you focus just on what you see as on the screen, that's online. But if you're going out and you're actually meeting people, there's obviously a lot more that comes from that. You can be around the person. Again, you get to speak to the person. You get a bit of an understanding as to how they are. It's not just through a screen. And a lot of you guys, I'm pretty sure, are failing to sort of remember that you do need to be out there. You need to put yourself out there. Again, do the self-work, body game. I'm going to keep stressing that, but do the work. Make sure you focus on yourself, your hygiene, personal hygiene, everything else like that. Also mentally, making sure you're in the mental space. But you can't expect to just sit back and say, I'm going to stay inside. I'm not going to be sociable. I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to try and, you don't necessarily have to go out to try and meet people, but you should be doing activities that even put you to some extent in the social environment. So even going to the gym, mental clarity can be from doing that, passing the time there. But that being said, you can still go and meet people on the way. Even if it's just guys you're having a chat with, you can still be sociable, communicate with people. We learn as we go. As human beings, we interact. We're supposed to interact with people. We were never designed, from my understanding or my belief, we were never designed to sit in a cubicle in a box and just do that and do nothing else. We were made to be sociable creatures and interact with other human beings as well. So you need to get out there, guys, do the work. But again, if you're finding yourself that you're looking at, you can look at Hinge, you can look at Tinder and all these things like that, which is not something I personally use. But at the same time, if you are going to do that, that's fine. But it should be used alongside you being sociable and being out there. And again, try not to get into this point of just thinking to yourself that it's easy to sit at home, play your game, do whatever you do, watch the match, and just keep looking and scrolling through different Hinge and Tinder. Now, again, I'm in my 30s, so maybe when you're a bit younger, 18, 19, probably you don't really see these sort of things come up. It maybe not be an issue to you. It's a completely different generation, and I'm removed from that generation. I won't know what it'd be like to be a 19-year-old in this time. But for me, I remember there's a time before social media. And again, the problem with these sort of, the level of involvement that it has in our lives now, is to the point that you can't really escape it. There could be a trend going on, something new going on, people talking about it in work. You don't know what's going on. TikTok thing going on. I don't know what that's about. But at the same time, people are telling me about it. But when you are get to a point now where again you're focusing on yourself, you're focusing on your own goals and your own improvement, the other things will come as well. But this whole sort of social media environment now, for me, I don't even know what to make of it anymore. But I think for many people, there's an over reliance on social media to the point where a lot of you guys will say you're not doing the work and you're focusing too much on this because it's an easy option rather than getting yourself out there and trying to be, again, sociable, be around people. You shouldn't necessarily be focusing on trying to meet anyone necessarily. And I said the same thing to my friend who asked me the question, actually a lady who asked that. You shouldn't be focusing on trying to meet anyone necessarily, but you can't be overly reliant on social media to the point that you're just going to not do anything at all and then expect it all to come to you. That it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So I think that's maybe a reason why a lot of guys are struggling out there. But again, leave your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you next video. Peace.